proof texts basically are not on here. It's very disappointing for me, and I would love to have a Bible study with you to help you see those proof texts, where these understandings are coming from as far as the Bible is concerned. So, without further ado, one last thing. I was going to have John Darrow, our local lawyer in the congregation, have a look at these trial things, make sure they made sense, because I'm not a lawyer. So, if you see something wrong, please come up and tell me so that I can correct the slide, so that if I give this presentation again, then it will be more accurate. All right, so the first accused is us. And the charges against us are all the recorded or unforgiven sins. If you have no sins that have not been forgiven, then thumbs up. And that starts happening as you say yes to God's free gift of eternal life, and then as you continue that relationship, you don't have to worry about it. The judge will be God, is God. The prosecutor, or the one who's doing all the accusing, is Satan. Bruce informed me the other night that Satan, as I have been referring to him the whole time, his name meaning the enemy actually means the accuser. So thank you, Bruce. The witnesses are all of creation. They've been watching us, not in a creepy way. The trial was initiated in 1844. We talked very briefly about that time period that we get derived from the prophecies in Daniel. And then the verdict is either guilty or innocent, and there's a little asterisk there. So if we go down to the first asterisk, it says, the sentence for guilty verdict is paid by the judge circa AD 34, and it's optional. And then we see that the trials of the guilty are actually reopened during the 1,000 years for inspection. Normally, well, for us, our cases are closed as we go into heaven, and from that point on, we don't have to worry about anything. But the people who are given the guilty sentence and have to remain dead on the earth, they don't get that opportunity. So we have a look, make sure God did everything right, see how we would have done things, and realize actually God is a perfect judge. I believe. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm very sure that's what the conclusion is that we're going to come to. And then there's a sentence, and it's either death or eternal life. And the sentence, once again, for guilty verdict is paid by the judge in circa AD 34. That's when Jesus died, around that time. And it's optional. Keep that in mind. Now, the second case was the accused is God. If you're having a hard time understanding this, just wait for your turn. You're right-brained. But if this is making a lot of sense to you, pay close attention. You already are, I'm sure. The accused is God. The charges. God was accused of not allowing his created beings real freedom because everyone had a law that they had to follow. Lucifer claims that no one needs any law, and if there weren't any laws, God's created beings would all be truly free. He claims that God's law could not be followed anyway, and that even God himself cannot follow the law. So that is what God is accused of. The judge shall be all of creation. The jury is us. One of the conclusions that we come to at the end of the 1,000 years is, once again, yes, God is just. The prosecutor is Satan, and the witnesses were us. That's why we call ourselves witnesses, partly, because we're witnesses. God's trial was initiated at the origin of evil, and then the verdict was given as, or will be given as every knee bows before God. Satan's, ours, all angels, all creation, everybody's knee bows. Unless you're not a living, breathing thing, I guess, then maybe a rock wouldn't. But it says the rocks cry out. I don't know. The verdict will be not guilty, faux show. But the sentence is not applicable because God will not have a sentence. He already suffered a sentence, but it was ours. Satan's trial. The accused is Satan. The charges are every sin a superintelligent, pure evil mind can conceive of. That's pretty gruesome charges. The judge will be God. The jury is us. The prosecutor, the one who's doing the accusing, is all saved and unfallen creation. And the witnesses are us. The trial is initiated at the moment of the first human sin. So when Eve took the bite of that apple, I was going to wear a shirt today that says, "My bad," and it was like a quote from Eve, and it has a picture of an apple with a bite taken out of it. It's kind of irreverent. The trial was initiated. Oh, I said that. The verdict will be guilty for Satan, and the sentence shall be death. If anybody ever deserved the death sentence, it would be Satan. And now for the right-brained people. There's a lot more color. And I'm going to read a verse from Psalms. It's 89:14. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne. Love and faithfulness go before you. I wrote this sentence the other day, still kind of in its rough draft form. I'll be changing it a little bit, and hopefully, eventually I'll be able to kind of recite this thing if it's powerful. If it's not, then I won't do it anymore. But it's got 7 chapters, God's favorite number, and it's about 6 pages long. And this is pretty much the sermon today. So if it's been a while since you've heard a bedtime story, this is not a bedtime story, I don't want you to fall asleep. But if it's been a while, then sit back and enjoy yourself. I'm going to read you a story. I'm going to try to do some voices and stuff and be enthusiastic about it. And this will help the people who are right-brained to understand this whole story from the beginning to the end about why God's on trial, why he's on trial, what our eventual future is with God. The story is called King I Am. Each name in here is a play on a real character from history. So if you catch them all, then that would be pretty cool for you. Chapter 1. The king with 3 minds. King I Am. When he spoke, he answered in 3 voices, always in unison. He was brilliant, and with his 3 separate brains, he loved himself. If you imagine you have 2 hemispheres of your brain, but they're not individually sentient. Together they're sentient. Together they understand, I am me. I am a brain sitting in this body. It's kind of weird to think of yourself that way, but this king has 3 hemispheres. I guess it'd be a triple sphere or something. But each part is individually sentient, and he is extremely, extremely brilliant. He invented sentient and beautiful messengers of different capabilities, and the first one he named Lucian. I'm glad that Lucia is not sitting out here. Then there was Gabe and many others. These were messengers. He made a bunch of different sons for himself, and Lucian and Gabe always loved it. They loved watching him make these sons for himself. He would create different kinds, different ones. King I Am loved making them. They had freedom to do as they pleased, and they all did what he asked, King I Am, because they loved him, and he loved them back. They even wrote music just for him. They loved each other, too. They were so intent on showing this love to each other that no one ever picked and ate their own fruit. They always picked the best fruits they could find and gave it like a present to others. The same was done for them, and everybody loved doing things this way. Just imagine, you never have to pick your own fruit because somebody is giving it to you when you're hungry, having picked out the one that they thought you would like best. Lucian was a very handsome young man who had a great voice. One day he was looking into the pond before his drink, like he did every day, and he said, "Wow." And then he got his drink. This was a strange moment. Though he looked into the pond every day when he drank, normally he would say, "Wow, good job, King I Am." But today he just said, "Wow." Later, he and Gabe were singing a duet, and afterward, he went to Gabe, and he said, "Aren't I the cat's pajamas?" And Gabe said, "Yeah, you look amazing. King I Am is so creative." Then Gabe left, and Lucian got quiet. Why did he have to bring the king into that? He sat and he thought some more, and he looked at himself in the pond some more, which made him feel better. He asked the other messengers if they thought he